I'm no longer a Starfleet captain. I'm a puppet captain.
Hello and good evening. Star Trek Strange New World, Season 4, Episode 5. Level 5 Transporter Accident first aired today in 2026. But here in 2026 on Live Long and Podcast, we're just getting started. Whether you're joining us live on YouTube, Twitch, on Facebook, or catching the other version wherever you get your podcast, our mission to watch every episode of Star Trek Strange New World continues. This is your captain speaking. I am your host, Puppet Dave Maynard. And we have a top-tier panel to break this down, this whimsical genre Batman adventure. Yay! Coming in, he is tuned in to every creative flourish, every puppet detail, and every moment where SNW embraces full Henson-style chaos when an episode blends comedy with craft. Jim is already tracking every frame. It is Jim the Casual Nowadays!
It doesn't matter what I say. I can't beat that. I can't beat the puppet cameo. I'm done. I'm out. Screw this. No, I can't beat it. I'm done. No.
You can do it, Jim!
That's a good puppet. That's a really good puppet. I got to admit.
Thank you. This is the 35th episode overall of Star Trek Strange New Worlds that we are talking about. It is called Level 5 Transporter Accident. Tonight's episode is one of the wildest genre swings in the series. Scotty's attempt to break down the long-distance transporter record goes sideways. Spock watches the entire ship beam away, and when he returns to the bridge, he finds Captain Pike and the crew transformed into puppets! Spoilers! Okay, Jim, I don't know if I can keep this up. I'm not a puppeteer.
Are you okay? Is your voice okay? Do you need some Robitussin?
It's more my arm. I can't. I don't have it is hard to be a puppeteer. Give me a
second. Credit where credit's due. It's a hell of an intro. So yeah. A puppet episode.
Yeah, Jim. I don't know. That's I don't know how they do it.
It's
just trying to do the hand movements alone. Like it's
and
I
then
got this.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I got this a long time ago. 2011. So, which is 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah.
In Manhattan at the FAO Schwartz that had a Jim Hunson's Muppet workshop there at the time. Yeah. And I got this there tonight in honor of this puppet episode. I'm a big fan of the Muppets, puppets, all of it.
Yeah.
How about you, Jim?
I love the Muppets. I grew up on the Muppets. Hell, A Muppet's Christmas Carol is one of my favorite movies ever.
It is it's probably my favorite Christmas movie ever.
And it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Muppets Treasure Island with Tim Curry. That's hilarious on its own. And just the Muppets in general were a big part of my childhood, which is sad to say why I really, really fucking hated this episode for a couple of reasons, and probably not the ones you're thinking of.
Yeah, well, this is a live stream here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. If you're listening live, let us know in the comments what you thought. We'll try to keep up here. Hopefully, I think Chris is going to join us as well. Yeah. Okay, Jim. I love puppets. Okay, yeah. This is not an anti-puppet smear. I am I'm a friend. I'm an ally to puppets and Muppets everywhere.
I didn't know Muppets and puppets were part of the flag.
Well, I think they have their own flag.
I think they do have their own flag. It's just felt in the wind.
Yeah, it's just a felt flag. I mean, but this episode, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What did we watch? What was this? Because I have to tell you, like, as much as I thought it was fun in some ways, Spock broke up with his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
He had a dream, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then he's back. He's sort of talking to T'Pring again. Maybe he's going to get back with T'Pring.
All in all, Dave, we watched nothing. We watched something that makes zero difference in the universe.
This is like a DVD extra, is it not? Like, this is then a Star Trek episode.
I've been thinking about this all day, and my knee-jerk reaction when I saw it was, I fucking hate this. This is terrible. And then I started thinking, and I'm like, if this was any other show, I could get behind it. Okay? This is not Star Trek. This was not a Star Trek episode. And the running gag through the entire thing is just the crew saying, we're puppets. Like, that was it.
Yeah. Like, as a fan of puppeteering, I think, part of I think the problem that the episode doesn't work for me, just this is just my thing, could be others, that there's other people doing the puppeteering, right? Like, they did this, and then, like, the actors came in and dubbed their over top of that.
Sure.
And and it works okay, but it's not quite the same as what true puppeteering is. Like, if you, like, Jim Henson was the voice of Kermit, and he's doing it right. In the moment, there's a physicality and an authenticity to puppeteering. So if you're going to bring a puppet episode in, that alone, like, is a bit of a thing.
If you're going to do a puppeteering show, you should do the puppetry correctly. Like, hell, what was that movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Like, they had puppets in that movie. Like, the cast, like, actually learned how to do puppeteering. There was, like, a behind the scenes feature of them learning from Jim Henson employees, like, how to move properly with the puppets.
Yeah.
And it's don't even mention Pelia Muppet or Muppet Pelia. Oh my god.
The hair stood out. I will agree with Norman on that.
Yeah,
front.
It did.
It was an interesting, like, they had a lot of fun with the Pelia character as a puppet.
I guess. I think I'm, with everybody else, like, I do not like Pelia. We should just get rid of her and just have her on a permanent vacation, like, what was it, 2 episodes ago or whatever, and just, like, we're good. She's out, Scotty's in. Just
they already have Scotty, like,
yeah.
This is more like, he's not quite the chief engineer yet, but he's going to be. Like, they're saving that moment to make him the chief engineer, like, so she has to stay until that moment can happen.
Her only job during this entire episode was to poke fun at Scotty and basically say, oh, this other guy that you're trying to beat, yeah, he's so much better. And then at the very end of the episode, it's like, well, he was just nepotism. He was kind of an asshole. You're much smarter. So why the hell were you making fun of him the entire time? Like, just, are you bipolar? I think she's bipolar.
Maybe. I can't disagree.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Like, was there anything? Let's try to get positive here. I don't want to just, like, we could dunk on this.
Well,
for in a sort of spiraling sense, and which wouldn't necessarily be constructive So let's stay on task.
And that's where I came to my big realization this afternoon. They could have done this with the puppets, the whole 9 yards, and made it much better if they had done an actual crossover with like the Muppets. Okay? You could have brought back Pigs in Space. You could have made that like a 90-minute feature-length thing in honor of 60 years of Star Trek. You could have made it its own freaking movie for this year, and you could have gone over the top with it, and people would have loved the hell out of it. You bring in Miss Piggy and Kermit and all the rest of them, Scotty and Beaker and engineering, just trying to come up with a bunch of shit. Bring in the Orville. Why the hell not? Just like they could have done so much more with this and made it a lot more charming, but they wasted an episode of a show that has been lauded as like bringing it back to real Star Trek, and they just completely missed the point of puppets, of the Muppets. They wasted it. They could have done so much better. And I'll say this though, there was like maybe one. I think there were like 2 jokes that I actually got a kick out of. One was later on when the Orion Pirates come in, which I love both of the actors that were part of the 2 talking actors that were part of that Orion crew. When the captain shoots the red shirt puppet, it just has a giant hole in him.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny. And
there were some laughs here. Okay, like here's my other. I got so many things because I wouldn't necessarily have minded if this had been a thing that happened. If you do a fun science fiction spin on it, and it might be a stretch. You might have to go into like super sort of interdimensional quantum theory, sort of anything's possible. But you think of like the Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange movie. I'm not saying that movie's good, but as they're crossing through the different states of reality, there's like realities where people are cartoons, and in some places where they're made of Lego and all kinds of things. And you could do a version where the Enterprise crew ends up in a world or a dimension that forces this reality upon them, like maybe Q or something like that shows up. But this was sort of a cop out for me in terms of deciding to make it just Spock's dream.
There was a live stream that I was watching, Tachyon Pulse podcast. He's talking with an insider over at Paramount, and during this live stream, he said, he basically said he was talking about the puppet episode, and he just said, don't worry about it, guys. It's not going to matter. And I typed in the chat, don't tell me it's a Who Shot JR episode. And he just laughed and said, I can't say anymore. I'm like, it's a fucking dream.
I looked that up today because I just before we came on, because I'm a little too young to really remember Who Shot JR. And it turned out that Who Shot JR wasn't exactly the same thing as the dream. Because there was Who Shot JR happened in an earlier season, and then a few seasons later there was the other brother who was played by Patrick Duffy, who was it was like Barry or something, instead of JR's brother or something, Bobby, I think, right? And so he was dead, but then it turned out he wasn't dead. They threw away an entire season. Yeah, right? The entire season was a dream. This was only one episode. They're just saying this one episode was a dream. I think it's more forgivable, perhaps. But is it, it's just a strange thing in the world of Star Trek that this is the choice they made. They're doing this thing with Spock's character arc. I think that they felt that they needed to get some of these beats in on this episode because I think they want to get Spock to the logical Vulcan version we're going to know in original series more so than what we're getting in these seasons in this show.
Yeah, right? I mean, I understood the point of like his arc in this episode. It's to get back to a more centered and grounded Spock. I get that. I think using puppets and the chaos that they cause on the Enterprise and him having to run everything is kind of overcompensating, I guess would be the way I would put it. I don't know. Like, I know why T'Pring's there, and that was actually a smart move to bring in the logic side of things, but it was just too goofy for Spock to use as an excuse to become more logical, I guess.
Well, if that's what this is all going to add up to,
think.
like then like that's the best case scenario. If it doesn't even add up to that, then I'm like, well, what was the point of any of that? I'm just grasping at straws in terms of why they made these choices and why this is a Spock centered episode that turns out to be a Spock dream.
Yeah,
a sort of nightmare, so vivid that it's got so much detail to it. Like there was a villain and there's these Orions who we meet and we get to know them. There's guest stars here, and I was like, okay, these are interesting Orions. Turns out they don't even exist. They were never, they never did. They were just figments of Spock's imagination.
And Spock was having views of characters that he's not even in the same room with, hearing conversations that he couldn't possibly hear in his own dream, I guess. It was just so weird. And I honestly, I didn't know what to do with it. I've always hated it was just a dream cop out. I've always hated that. Every time it ever happens, the only exceptions would be like maybe Inner Light in TNG, because there was actually kind of like a point to that.
That was a different that had an interesting science fiction premise.
Right.
That was like okay, like this ancient civilization, they went extinct, but they created this probe that that's a fascinating episode in so many ways, even if it is like a dream of a sense that it wasn't a real life, but he thinks it is. For him, he has that whole perspective on the whole civilization. He can tell Starfleet and the Federation all about them. Like there's so much more depth to that story than what they do. Like, and then it's really like this is a major episode that's focusing on relationship drama amongst the crew. It that there is like if you're going to do this puppet episode, I think there's an interesting like they made a fake science fiction reason. And then they at the end they go, nah, we just did that as a misdirect, because even there was like the whole analogy in the episode about the Orion pirates, how they will attack one area as a diversion and then do something else. I'm like, was piracy committed against us, Jim? Is that what's happened here?
I feel like it. I absolutely feel like piracy was committed today. Credit though to Joe Latrugio as the Orion that was interrogating Spock. I always love him as an actor in a comedic role, and he kind of nailed it. So there's one little high point, but again, like the Orions don't matter in this. Like I guess they were talking about it at the beginning of the episode, but they never actually showed up. And it's just this. It was a waste. Again, if this was any other show, I probably could have enjoyed it. But
that's right, Norman. I forgot.
Right.
We have there is a precedent. I forgot. Okay, in Enterprise, there is an episode where Hoshi's fear of the transporter makes her believe she is disappearing, which turns out to be a dream. Okay, yes, that is correct. It's like it's like, but it even that one, I believe, has like a science fiction explanation. There's some kind of like a transporter.
There was like a storm. I think they couldn't use the shuttle pod, and they were forced to beam back up through some kind of EM storm or some thing like that. And Hoshi, terrified of the transporter because you are being deconstructed into molecules and all that, which I think there's even a video out there that explains the actual like philosophical science behind it, like you die every time.
In that episode, yeah, she has this whole manifestation and dream, but the twist is that it was actually something because they put her through the pattern buffer during a delayed transporter sequence. Okay.
Oh, right. That was it. Okay.
It's the most laziest, most basic of answers, but they had one.
Yeah.
This one, they say that the transporter effect here, the accident that made Spock sleep for hours after it happened in his quarters, but not in sick bay, in his quarters. They put him to bed in his quarters with Supreme to watch over him. He'll be fine. He'll wake up from this transporter accident, I guess, in a few hours, but like he's not in sick bay, and like the buoys were damaged because he tried to transport a puppet really far away, right? That's what happened.
Like like the probes or the relays like exploded, and he like knocked his head against the wall of the shuttlecraft, and instead of like treating it like a medical emergency, they just sleep it off. You'll be fine, kid. Like that was it. It just,
Jim, we may have to give ourselves hater check here because Sam's saying unpopular opinion. I like that the show does fun episodes, and I don't think that that's an unpopular opinion necessarily, Sam. I think that there's a possibility that we are the more this is not Star Trek, like go back to Shatner or whatever. But
no, I can address that. I can enjoy a fun episode of Star Trek once in a while, but this has been basically 4 or 5 in a row. Okay, this is too much, too fast. Give me genuine sci-fi for a while, then do a fun episode. Earn that comedic break. Okay, you keep slapping me with the rubber chicken. I'm gonna get sick of the rubber chicken, and I'm gonna punch you back. Like.
Yeah, like even you think about the last episode with like they had a science fiction reason for the black and white, right?
Sure.
But it was very much like, well, this is like just our explanation, but it's more like it's magic, right? Like it could be anything. What's fantasy, what's science fiction, like it's okay that this is character driven. And even the fact that this is a whole bunch of relationship drama in this particular episode and it's been in the season, I get it. Like that's been baked into Star Trek, kind of. Even if you go back to original series, there's a little bit of that. But in Next Generation, certainly, which was created by Roddenberry, he set up the whole Riker and Troy romance. Even back in the motion picture, you had the Decker and Ilya romance built into that one, right? Ooh. So there's been relationship drama in Star Trek baked in almost from the beginning. Like I get it's part of the show, and to say it's never been a soap opera. It's been a bit of a soap opera for a while.
Kind of a soap opera,
but you get the dream here.
A good chunk of DS9 was all about the relationships between the people in that. Hell, that was one of the driving forces of that show. Was the relationship.
We have a checkmate is here because he's our resident vegan and podcast aficionado, always ready to empathize with misunderstood species, even when those species are Orion pirates or puppet-fied Starfleet officers. He is tuned into biology, the ethics, and the science behind the transporter mishap. It is Chris Worldmind Murphy. Chris. He's muted, but it's okay. He's here.
I don't mind. Sorry, did that come out loud?
Not yet, but he's here, guys. Everyone,
he's still
feel the world mind.
I know the frustration. I've seen it in Adam's face on several times too.
Even though we can see his lips moving, we can't.
Right?
We can't there to be dead air, Jim. That's part of the trick here. We demand justice.
We demand the extradition of Kirk. We demand justice.
Wow, that's a blast from the past.
I think it's working.
Oh, you're back.
There we go.
We can
hear
you.
Go.
Beautiful, lovely. I'm here to talk about a dream of what Star Trek could be, because this is by far the best episode of Star Trek ever. Beats the Drumhead. It beats, any of DS9's episodes. There's a DS9 episode that holds a candle to this which is inevitably the greatest Star Trek episode. Hey, I can't keep this up. This is fucking the worst piece of shit I've ever watched.
I was wondering if that was just Canadian sarcasm coming through. I was gonna ask.
Hold on, there is
two highlights.
Resident sleuth tonight, perfectly suited for a high concept mystery. He has an instinct for spotting the clue behind the malfunction, the motive behind the Orion attack, and the twist hiding behind the felt. It is Chris Shaggy Vasilas.
How is everybody tonight?
Doing okay, I think.
I'm a Muppet of a man, but it's otherwise.
I'm pretty sure I saw the veins popping out of Chris's forehead a minute ago.
Dang, and I missed
Chris's. Chris and Chris are with us now, Jim.
Yeah.
Squared in this house.
Two Americans and two Canadians. It's finally an even match.
Canadian Chris and American Chris. That's we can also differentiate them by.
All right, here, we're gonna go on the right. Actually, no, we're gonna go on the right sides here. We're gonna be on
the north. Up here in the north, the south.
Right.
You know what? Geographics. Okay, fine. I'll allow it this time.
I like it.
Work. Shaggy, did you like this episode?
I actually did. This was a lot of fun, in my opinion. I mean, there are just some episodes of Star Trek that need to be just kind of mindless fun. This was it for me.
Mindless being the key word.
I would definitely agree with that, but nothing was really accomplished. But I'm just so much hijinks and so much fun. I had a blast.
You know, like in a sense, I did too. You know, I did like there were parts I laughed at, and there were jokes and like. And there was almost callbacks to other Muppet stuff I've seen because I'm a huge Muppet fan.
Sure.
Right. So it was almost like a Saturday Night Live sketch in some ways for me. You know, it was kind of like
a level 5 transporter accident.
You know something?
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of the Muppets.
Before.
You've never heard of a whole crew turned into puppets either, Bob.
What was that?
I'm a fan of the Muppets. I'm a fan of Star Trek. I'm also a fan of peanut butter, and I'm a fan of pickles. I don't mix my pickles and my peanut butter together.
Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe people think Star Trek is pickles, but it's actually no. Or is it the analogy? Help me with this.
The analogy is kind of apt. I think I understand it entirely. Again, I love the Muppets too. If they were going to do this, I don't think they went far enough. I think they should have done like the full on cameo thing, like what I was saying earlier. If you had gone full out with it, like, you know, Pigs in Space, Kermit, all of them, Big Bird as a security officer, I'd buy that. Like,
if they met the Pigs in Space, I might have been satisfied with that.
If they had met the Pigs in Space, I would retract everything I've said tonight.
Like if the Pigs in Space just come through some like interdimensional portal,
yes.
I would accept it. I would. You
Yeah.
know, I'd be like, okay, I guess the Pigs in Space can come through a portal sometimes and meet Star Trek people. But
I was angry, but you won me back, Paramount. All right, please continue. But no Pigs in Space. So
no Pigs in Space. You know, it was more of Star Trek. Yeah, and the whole thing about like, yeah, they're floating around and they're like, we're talking in a dream. Like, does this feel like a dream a Vulcan would have?
No.
None
of this feels like anything a Vulcan would have.
But we got to remind ourselves Spock is half human, so.
what? It's literally breaking the fourth wall when Peleus says while they're floating in space, like, we are talking in space. We should not be physically able to do this. It's like it's smacking you in the face the entire time. With it's bullshit. It's just.
I think it would have been more fun
bullshit
if Spock had like done some acid or something, like he had just dropped or ate shrooms or had some kind of psychedelic experience that would make it fit more, right? You know, like that would be another way to do this. But
something that EJR just said that, you know, he was in extreme distress 2 episodes ago and was kind of poking fun at that. So
yeah. You know what? How about
he
this?
Said something else earlier. He said since season 2, half of the show's episodes are fun episodes, not maybe 3 out of 26 episodes being fun like the old days.
Yeah. Maybe they could have got away with this. What if like the psychedelic drugs were like an ancient Vulcan technique to get you back to your logical roots, and he takes it, and this whole experience was him trying to get back to logic and realizing something. I don't know. It's something. It's better than what we had here.
Yeah, well, that's what we got. That's all I can say. Well, we're gonna have to get to screenshots at some point, guys. Like we're 30 minutes into breaking this down. That we're like they did it. I think this will be a polarizing episode for many years. I think that would be something fitting. But we were here first. We were here to debate it day one. So that's where it sets us apart.
Damn straight we were.
I definitely found I enjoyed this more than the Subspace Rhapsody episode.
See, no, you can't say that because I enjoyed the Subspace Rhapsody episode more than this piece of garbage.
I would put the Subspace Rhapsody above this episode too. Like I thought,
absolutely,
even from a science fiction standpoint, it made more sense.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. That's the thing. Hang on.
Sorry, Chris.
They literally made Subspace Rhapsody make sense within the continuity of Star Trek. Do you know what else they made sense in the continuity of Star Trek? Rascals. Picard, within the lineage of Star Trek, was a 10-year-old for like a week on the on the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
And like if they were gonna go so far as to do the Muppets, they should have committed. Everyone should have. This should have been a logged thing, and it was in the like they should have just went full out, but they're just like, no, it was all a dream.
Yep. The Dallas
what is this, a Jay-Z song?
The Dallas approach.
The Dallas, or
is it Who Shot JR? Right?
Yeah.
It's the Sopranos.
The Sopranos.
It has been done since this time. It wasn't the only Dallas, but Dallas did it first, and now here we are.
I didn't like Subspace Rhapsody one damn bit, but I would rather watch Subspace Rhapsody.
Subspace Rhapsody grew on me over time. I went back to some of the songs. I'm like, these are better than I remember them on the first go, and maybe I'll like this episode more on the next go. But I watched it twice. I watched it the first time with the shots, and then I watched it again with Jane. And she liked it. She thought it was fun. So hey, if you like this and it's fun, what's wrong with that? Let's go to screenshots. All right, this episode begins with the Enterprise captain's log explaining that they are patrolling the sector for Orion pirates. We get the transition that they're doing some transporter tests on long-range transporting, which Scotty and Spock discuss. We know from like the Abrams movies, which has the prime version of Spock, that Scotty will perfect transport beaming, by the end of his life. This is before he's cracked that equation. So they're kind of alluding to that in this scene. And that also Scotty has this rivalry with another engineer on the ship who has also been trying to crack this engineering feat.
Milder?
Yeah, I forget the name. But anyway, so he shows his friend, the puppet is named Little Ricky. Little Ricky is Scotty's puppet that his brothers used to terrorize him with to scare him.
I can't imagine why.
And then they gifted it to Scotty at some point. So that's fun. This, anytime you have a puppet or any kind of thing like this with two different eyes, like one button here is green, one button here is like sort of brown, that indicates madness or sort of just like evil intent, in my opinion, from puppet reading lore. That's just.
Are you trying to say that the puppet is Chekhov's gun for this episode? Like it's not going to have significant meaning until the end?
Maybe. I don't know if I'm saying that, but I'm just saying that Spock finds it disturbing, and so do I. So he leaves here because he wants to go talk to Lon. He's been having some issues focusing. Now he's having panic attacks here, Spock. He goes to see his girlfriend. Well, they're supposed to do their dance lesson, but she cancels. He's like, hey, I need this to focus. And, I really like, when we dance and have sex sometimes. That's great. And she's like, well, I guess that's going to have to end now because I'm breaking up with you.
I do have a question that came up right during this scene. Does it feel like these episodes were written out of order?
Possibly. Like they've been known to change the order around of how they've shot them.
Some of the dialogue seems like the timing is way off.
Could be like all kinds of things like ADR reshoots, but they allude to the fact that she's really not been doing well since the events on the Franklin. So that was right. Was the Franklin? Griffin. Sorry.
Griffin.
On the Griffin. And so that was part of it. He's like, I wasn't there for you. She's like, don't worry, I didn't even come to you with those issues. So that's part of the reason I'm probably breaking up with you anyway. And he's like, okay, well, cool. Like, so, be pals, see you later. The relationship has run its course, and then he decides to head off to his quarters. And then we have a scene on the bridge. Now this does happen, okay? And Pike gets a new chair. I will be interesting to see if this chair is around in the next episode because he gets a new chair and it's all high tech and it's got all these abilities and can do all these things. And Pelia spent a month building it. By the end of the episode, Puppet Pike will renounce this chair. And say, the old chair was really the best chair. And then Una backs him up and goes, yeah, I think you should go back to the old chair. But that didn't happen. So will Pike have this realization in real life? And Spock somehow intuitively knew that?
Maybe. But I like the fact that this chair looks a lot closer to the one that they had in TOS. I like the look of the chair. I think it's a nice little... foreshadowing / callback thing, whatever you want to describe it as. I like the look of the chair. I think it's cool.
I think it looks good too. Great.
Yeah.
Do you like the chair, Shaggy?
I do. I got like Jim said, TOS vibes, and it looks phenomenal. The wood paneling really seals it for me.
Yeah.
Wood paneling, it was the era. It was the 2260s, right? Anyway, so then over to Spock, who's meditating in his quarters, trying to block out the breakup with La'an, and then all of a sudden, he can't concentrate. I think he gets a phone call because he send an email to Pring, or I can't remember.
Yeah, because her the hallucination of her on the Griffin helped him focus and turn logical to get through that situation. So he's kind of relying on her now to get back to a more logical Vulcan kind of mindset.
Right. He just broke up with La'an. He's like, hey, what's up? I know we're passing Vulcan. You want to meet up? And it feels... And then she's like, no, I hate you. Remember, but in a Vulcan way. And
deservedly so, I think.
Okay, our introduction to T'Pring was in Amok time, and in that episode, she wants Spock dead, right? She wants Stan to kill Spock in the Caliphate, right, and the Ponfar, and Spock would die. Right? So this relationship is only going to get worse. It's not going to get better with T'Pring. So they're bringing her back. I think at this point for some reasons, because she already didn't like him going before all this. So they have to leave her by the end of this series hating him even more. So just keep that in mind. First, the continuity to make sense. Anyway, so he gets to his leaving the buoys out here for the transporter test that they're about to do here. He's on the shuttle. Nice view, visuals here. The show always looks beautiful.
That it does.
Anyway, so then Scotty's going to transport his little Ricky puppet. That's the object he chooses to do, not like a cantaloupe like he mentioned in the 2009 Star Trek, or a beagle.
It was a beagle. Yeah, beagle. Yeah,
not mine.
Anyway, so they beam the thing, but then we see the transporter malfunction. So this is all still real. This all happens, and then we see people start turning into puppets here. Okay, so we're now in the dream. I'm not. When does the dream happen? Because we're with Spock on the shuttle. He's looking out, and then we see here that Scotty tries to beam his puppet, and then the malfunction happens, which we know did happen.
Right. If I had to pick the timing of the whole start of the dream, it would have to be when the alarm went off, because at the end they say that the relays exploded. I'm assuming when they exploded, that's when the alarms went off, and that's when Spock hit his head.
This is when Spock goes to dream mode, right here.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
This is the last moment we see Spock awake, in live. And then, then the malfunction happens. Right away, we start seeing people all across the ship start to be transported, put into transporter beams, everywhere from sick bay down the corridors, up to the bridge. We saw this all happening very quickly. Everyone is being simultaneously put into a transporter flux, then disappeared. Then the entire ship enters a transporter beam. The entire USS Enterprise from itself has beamed itself into nothingness, and then has brought itself back a moment later. The level 5 transporter accident, as Spock then redocks with the Enterprise to find a cargo bay or shuttle bay empty. He gets up to the bridge. There's smoke, and we meet for the first time the puppet Captain Pike. And he says, "Spock, it's you." And Spock doesn't know what to do. He sees everyone has been turned into a felt puppet in the Muppet style, like Sesame Street style.
Is Pike's hair taller as a puppet?
A little bit,
versus real life?
It's like the hair stayed the same shape, but his body shrunk.
Yeah,
Norman brings it up in the comments. I was half expecting the ship to come back when it disappeared to be like puppet style or something there again, like maybe made out of cheap cardboard or something.
That definitely would have really like Chris was saying, they would have really had to commit to the bit for that.
I mean,
I was sort of expecting it myself.
Yeah,
they exaggerated the hair quite a bit, which I think is funny.
A little bit.
Okay. He sees, his ex, La'an, freshly exed, turned into a puppet. We have Erica and everyone else. And then his other ex, T'Pring.
She was there, right?
Yeah, they said, she just beamed over, your old friend T'Pring, Scotty says. And then, she's here, and she's not down for this human BS. It's always goes crazy and wacky here on this human vessel, Spock. I don't like it. I like my Vulcan boring life. That's what I like. Okay. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be more Vulcan. Strange New Worlds. Here we go.
Can you bring up Mike's little comment there?
This one?
Yeah. The episode didn't actually move any story forward. Pike is going to be giving up a lot to save cadets soon, and these episodes are making his upcoming sacrifice a joke.
It's weird because especially like in the Telosian world, right?
Yeah.
Where he's going to end up eventually. You can do this puppet thing. Like in the Telosian world, anything's possible. It's basically like the Nexus almost, because they can do anything. They can whatever you can possibly imagine. They can construct in your mind.
Oh no!
And make it feel as real as anything, right? So anyway.
Time has no meaning.
Time has no meaning. Anyway, so going into this episode, I think, did we mention that this is the 35th episld and was written by Henry Alonzo Meyer and Dana Horgan and directed by Jordan Canning? Worldmind's back.
Hey!
Sorry, I was having audio issues.
Well, we just got it after the credits. We are up to the part where they are briefing everybody on the situation up in the ready or the conference room, the ready room, about how this has happened, the science behind it that is explained here. Because we don't know it's a dream. When you guys were watching this, did you think that this all made sense?
I mean, I guess it was plausible enough, but the thing that didn't make sense to me is, why did it transport every individual? Why didn't just the whole ship transport?
Why do it one by one and then do the whole ship, right? If you were to do the whole ship,
right?
Yeah, like do one or the other. But
radiating effect from the transporter.
The way they went about it was a little too much, but anyway.
Yeah.
So they're explaining this, that they're all turned into puppets. They all have 4 fingers now instead of 5. They can't open doors. They can't really work anything. Spock is the only one who can work anything. So this is going to be a huge plot point for the episode. But basically, Scotty's getting the blame. They're trying to have some fun with this. even like I don't know, they give Mbenga and Chapel medical stuff to do, which will end up being mostly sewing and mending felt.
We're registering as biological life forms, but
what do you guys think of the design of the puppets?
Oh, I thought they were gorgeous. They had really, really good work.
I mean, I will never say anything bad about the Jim Henson Company. They always do a really good job when it comes to puppets and all the characters that they create. I do kind of have a problem with Pelia. Her hair is a little... I mean, I know she's supposed to be kind of like insane looking, but that's like over the top. Plus, really, really, really stoned looking. Like, she's hit.
I think the
15
Pelia
balls.
design one is the best one. I actually like her like weird, glowy, spriggly hair. I like all their designs. They did Luna though a little. I feel like they did Luna bad.
Who's Luna?
I feel like they did.
Una.
Una, sorry. Yeah.
Una.
I feel like they did Una dirty, in my opinion.
Hers isn't great. Chapel's isn't great either.
Nah. I think they spent all the hair budget on Pike.
And Bingus is pretty good. Hers is pretty good.
Yeah.
Scotty's is
not.
It's nah.
He just looks sad.
He's sad and kind of doesn't really look like the actor or like James Doohan either. So it's kind of like this I don't know who this is, but it's not Scotty. Like, so it's interesting. Pike's is great. Pike's look like it looks so much like Pike that he sets like the tone, and you want them all to look like this, and then they don't all quite do it. Okay, and Pelia, I appreciate that the hair stands out and it's so unique, but on the other hand, it kind of looks like snakes or spider webs or something,
or
Like cup of noodles.
Yeah, like it
ramen
looks like a cup of
noodles.
noodles, like ramen noodles.
It's just like it's maybe a little too far. You know, dial that back a bit. But anyway, but this is the best of the best. This is Jim Henson Workshop, and you're not gonna get better quality than this in puppets.
I just find it funny. This is like the episode that Pelia comes back, but she's technically not even on screen.
Yeah.
So he talks to Robert April in the dream.
So who's controlling you?
I'm controlling me. We're all controlling ourselves.
Okay. So you're not puppets, but you're all still puppets.
You're not puppets, but you're all still puppets. Spock is the only one who can do anything because it's all touch screens. This is why they should have kept the buttons of the original series.
You're not puppets, but you're still puppets. That's Emmy winning writing right there. That's Emmy winning writing.
Chris, is this as bad as the flippers line from the first episode?
Yeah, it's pretty much up there.
Yeah. Just quick notice that's in the dream, Pike gives Spock control of the chair. Which will become important at the end.
His felt hands won't work.
Right. And then we go to the
ongoing joke.
The scene where they're trying to undo the transporter accident in the first place here on La'an with Scotty, and they try to beam her out. She goes ahead with the risk and she beams back, and there's the whole gag with her arm falling off.
That's not ideal.
No.
Why?
Why would her arm fall off? And then they have to sew it back on. That's funny.
I mean, for the humor side of things, I'm glad they showed like the cotton and everything inside. Like, I can appreciate that. I still think it's a freaking bad. Never mind. I like the cotton.
What would have been funnier and made more sense? She's talking to Spock. They're walking through the corridors. They enter a turbo lift. Her arm gets stuck in the door and gets ripped off.
You could have done it that way. I was kind of curious. I'm like, did they have La'an and Spock break up just so that they wouldn't be tempted to have, sex? What would that be like? Because at the end, Spock is kissing to Pring, and I'm like, okay, well, how does that kiss work in the dream? Like they had away at the kiss, but I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna work.
I mean, it's not a new thing for a puppet to have a hand inside her.
Well, that's true.
And there's visuals. Okay, it's burned into my retinas now. Thank you,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you. Yep.
like, it's so weird to even go. This was the plot of the episode because this is the plot of the dream. But like, there's this whole part where La'an he's helped sew her arm back on, and then he has this realization that T'Pring is here, and he has to go see T'Pring, and he's sorry that he invited her to the ship, and now everyone's puppets, and he feels so guilty. Like, this is what he actually feels. I guess this is an insight to Spock's psyche. This is how he feels when Vulcans visit him on the Enterprise. And he's like, I'm with these wacky humans. Aren't they a bunch of Muppets or puppets? Or, I'm going to have a panic attack. I'm so embarrassed.
Everybody wants my attention. I got to run around and operate the entire ship by myself.
Yeah,
Pull yourself
everyone's
together, man.
Yeah, Pelia's calling him in the dream, and everyone needs his help. They need him to go everywhere. He must feel a little stretched at work. He gets slapped by T'Pring. I know it's a dream, but like, even with the logic of the dream, if the puppets can slap, they have like more of a weapon at their disposal for fighting the pirates later. I don't know. Anyway, it's dream logic. It doesn't have to make sense. So
they can only generate speed. They can't generate force.
But we hear the slap, and it seems to hurt Spock.
Yeah, you can slap somebody with speed.
Then she does it again just for kicks at the end of their conversation. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, probably. He brought it.
Dream Puppet T'Pring is kind of sadistic and crazy.
She is a bit, yeah. But that's how he sees her.
Apparently so.
She will try again. So she would be like, I hope Stan kills you in this caliphate coming up. Sorry, that's Vulcan tradition. Coming up here, the Enterprise runs into the Orion pirates while Spock was trying to go around like helping Uhura and Ortegas. Oh, there was a whole bit there with Ortegas and Uhura too about the Enterprise is not a ship or not a telephone.
Fly the ship first. Talk to people second. Enterprise is a ship, not a telephone.
It's a ship, not a telephone.
Agreed.
But we got torpedoes to shoot things.
Yeah. They ran into this Orion ship, which, by the way, looked great. I love this Orion ship. It looked amazing.
Yeah, didn't this show up in Enterprise?
Well, not this design, but
not that design. No,
but
I definitely like it better than the one they had for those old scientists, the crossover episode, because that one I can't quite remember what it looked like, but it looked a lot worse than this one. This one's actually pretty baller. I do like it.
I can't wait till it's in Star Trek Online. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, so Pike in his chair there. They have an audio only conversation with the Orions, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Don't come near us, like, because we'll totally shoot you with photon torpedoes." And the Orions are ready to back off because Pike's bluffing them pretty good. But then Uhura, because the other thing about being a puppet is also makes you way stupider than you normally would be too, or more clumsy at least. And Uhura turns on the view screen so that they can see that they're puppets, which exposes the whole ruse. You seem to be turned into puppets, which I don't. Is this how Orions? I guess they would be this opportunistic in this situation. Like, I'd be like, I don't want to turn into a puppet. Maybe we should turn around. But because they don't know what caused the puppetitis.
So I mean, yeah, they said they were like in pirate space and stuff. I just want to say this was the highlight of the episode for me because I was like, hey, it's Rachel Harris from the Lucifer show. And is that Joe Laturga from fucking Arturo from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, it is.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she played Kess's mom in Voyager, like way back in the day.
Oh, yeah, she did.
So I was like, I know this woman from somewhere. And
Fun
fact, ahead of it, the fun fact section. We call that a little bonus fact here on Live Long. Anyway, so the Orions are taking advantage of them, and like they're trying to get away, and Spock's trying to shoot photon torpedoes, but the Enterprise in the dreams getting attacked, and the puppets are going crazy, and it's a lot of laughs. If I had known it was a dream the whole time, maybe I would have found it even funnier. But because I'm kind of, now that I'm revisiting it, I kind of find this part a little bit fun because it's so wacky. It's just, who was that guy? I guess he was like a Bolian or an Endorian.
See, this is where like a Muppets cameo would have been like hilarious. Like
it would have been great,
or Fozzie or just something.
I don't know. It would have been nice, but I think the problem with that is they just don't have the
the
rights
rights.
to it?
Yeah, 'cause
isn't
it's
the
Disney.
rights owned by Disney.
Yeah, this is not Disney.
Yeah, this would have to be like on par with like Roger Rabbit, you know, where like Disney and
You'd have to make
Warner
that kind of a deal.
Brothers-
You'd have to make like
Yeah.
a Sony Marvel kind of a deal.
But I actually
We
think that
need
could
equal
work. Though.
and frame time.
I would pay money to see that.
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of would too. If this was like an actual Muppets, Kermit and Piggy and them with like actual Star Trek crossover, I would have been far more for this.
Pigs
The
in
fact that
space.
they turned into Muppets, it's just like, eh.
Yeah, there's the whole sequence here where like Scotty's
my
stuck
God.
under a torpedo in engineering, and Spock has to go help him and save him. But it's kind of like a callback to a Muppet Christmas Carol, Jim, because like there's the whole
Yeah.
part where Scotty
Oh,
gets,
right, yeah.
he
It
goes through,
is.
like Rizzo
yeah.
goes through the bars after they have to climb over, and
Rizzo,
there was
did you go
that.
through this the whole time? Yeah,
Well,
just
I didn't
okay.
know. I'm not used to being a Scottish puppet. So anyway, then he has to head up, and he runs into T'Pring, who's gathered all the phasers, which I thought was. This is like another interesting part of Spock's dream mind, where T'Pring just wants to hoard all the weapons so that Spock can shoot like the invaders, because she's got all the phasers. It was kind of funny, like the
T'Pring.
like I love the sequence of them walking and talking and her having all the phasers. It looks hilarious, but and so he gets a phaser and then he shoots one of them, but it just knocks him down, and then they just shoot it back, and they shoot the phaser out of his hand first.
Yeah, the Orions activated their VATS and targeted the gun only.
Yeah, and then they shoot
As
him
you
down.
do.
They only stun him, and then T'Pring has to run away with all the phasers, which they can't operate because their hands can't do it, I guess. Then they got Spock after he wakes up, like in the bar area, like the lounge,
Like you do.
They want the command codes. He won't give them the command codes. They know he can't do anything because the ship's full of puppets. They try to take the bridge, and there's a whole sequence here with La'an and Una are trying to defend like the way into the bridge against the Orions, and they just kind of get smacked around because they're just puppets. It's the other thing, Spock thinks like they can't defend themselves against the true threats in space. This is what my psychosis into Spock is saying. Because then everyone, they're all running away here. It's like they get picked up and thrown around by the Orions, and even Pike tries to be defiant, but Pelia gets cut in half, right, by the Orion lady.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, I was like, well, is that how Pelia dies? She died as a puppet? No,
It would have been an excellent twist, again, if this was all within the realm and reality that is Star Trek. It's not out of the reality of Star Trek.
They could find a way to do it.
It could have been the greatest way for her whole character to just die. It's like, you know what? This immortal being, she couldn't handle the puppet life. The stuffing fell out of her, and Pelia passed.
She was killed in puppet form. She can't come back to living form. That's
You
just
ain't
the
OG.
rules.
You didn't grow up on the Sesame Streets.
Because in those old holodeck episodes, if you die, the safeties be turned off. You die here in this holodeck, you die. Even if a lot of times in the dream world, you die in the dream, you die. They find ways to make that happen. Like the Matrix would be an example.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? So it could more stakes here, but these puppets were basically invincible because they're just plush, felt people who just get thrown around. They had to retreat here to the quarters and they sew Pelia back together. Just moments here. They have to strategize. Meanwhile, the Orion first officer guy, who did you say was from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah,
Brooklyn
Joe
Nine-Nine.
Latrugio.
Yeah.
He was fun in the episode. He was good performance.
He's he plays Boyle in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's one
Yeah.
of the best characters in the show.
He's hilarious.
He was good. He was good in this scene. Even though he doesn't
Yeah.
exist and he's not. He was a fake
Dave,
Orion.
are you hinting at the fact that you don't know the 9-9 life? You don't know Brooklyn?
I don't really watch it. No.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah, it's
journey.
on my to-do list as well. I've seen a couple of episodes.
Oh God, guys, we're gonna have to start a podcast.
Why is it that me and Chris are on the same page for once?
Well,
We're on the same page often.
I mean, most of the time, yeah, but still, it's just this is blowing my mind, guys.
Yeah. There was this whole they have this whole dialogue about the X's and like everything else, right? And then like it was just a distraction until my boss, his captain, who is also maybe his wife, called him, right? Because we know that the Orion women are the masters in the Orion Society, and the men are kind of more like
thugs,
submissive.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a matriarchy.
It's a matriarchy, yeah. Anyway, so then they bring out Spock, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to threaten to airlock me, but you can't do that because I'm the only one who can work the ship." They're like, "Right, we're going to airlock your captain." And they bring out Puppet Pike, who's got the thing, and then he's like, "Don't do it." You know, we see him in the airlock. He before they're going to hit the purge button, and he's like, "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few." Spock.
I laughed my ass off.
I'm glad you laughed your ass off at this giant incontinuity.
Yeah,
he had a dream about doing this with Pike. So he's going to replicate that one day with Kirk. He's like, okay, I'm dying, and this is just like that time where I thought I was, but I'll be the Spock, or I'll be the Pike.
So now watch Wrath of Khan and take it seriously.
Yeah,
you know what?
Star
Trek Into Darkness took this scene a little bit more seriously than this. Okay,
it did. I'll give you that. It did take it more seriously. It
Do you know how bad a scene has to be where I have to give props to Into Darkness? Okay, like come on, this was borderline offensive.
Well, it happened, and but he gets sucked into space, not killed by radiation, so it's different. And he actually thinks that like Pike is going to die here. You know, we all do.
Wait, go back. That's my face.
Yeah. Anyway, so Pike goes out there, and he's like, she threatens to do to more of them, and we see that the crew sees Pike through the window, and they believe him to be dead. Una's like, I guess I'm the captain now. I guess that's what's happening. But then Peli is like, no, I need to point something out. This was the worst. I think because apparently they had to go back and redub their lines because of the way that.
Oh yeah.
Because all the puppeteers had to do it, right? And then they got the actors to do the lines, and then when they tried to put them together, it didn't work because they had to sync it up more to how the puppeteers had done it. So I feel like Peli was an example where that didn't quite work out, and so because the audio sync feels a little
the
off.
ADR was all over the place in this one.
Very noticeable too.
Yeah,
and for a sound guy like Chris, that is unforgivable. So just remember. Anyway, so Pike can't die. We find because it's a dream and he's a puppet. So
he's here to tell everyone it's not Penny's boat.
Not Penny's. That would have been better. Yeah, I'm like, oh, not Penny's boat. That's hilarious. Yeah, then we find out because it's a dream again. They don't have to explain it, but like, remember how they can't even open the door because they're puppets, and they're like, well, we'll have to bring the captain inside. I was like, well, how did they get him inside? But it doesn't matter because it's a dream, so don't ask the question, Dave.
They rolled the window down. They rolled the window down.
Yeah, because they would be fine. And then we
open, it'll fit in.
Puppet Pike gives us this whole monologue about how he thought he was dead, but then he was not because he was just in space, and he was so cool to be in space.
Drifting through the dark inkiness of space.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the coolest part of the episode for me. I'm like, okay, cool. They get to be puppets floating in space and experiencing that and not combusting. They get to talk for some reason, but sure.
And the advantage of being a puppet, which is what Pike goes into, and how T'Pring goes crazy because she's got emotion. She would never do that in real life. When you're a puppet, you're more expressive. That's puppet law. Like I don't like it. Like Spock thinks that this is how he sees his crewmates. Okay, this is what we all have to remember, and how he sees T'Pring.
So Spock sees his crewmates as a bunch of Muppets.
It's a bunch of Muppets.
And I just have the same look as Puppet Ortega's on the couch there. They're just like, okay, yeah, let's just get this over with. Come on, guys. Please move on.
She's like, we wrapped yet for the day? No, boss? Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so then Puppet Scotty makes like a little electrical device to open the doors, which then they do Muppet Man, right? Like they do the three Muppet on top of each other. This is Muppet Man under, I guess, Spock's cloak or what was ever in the quarters.
It's three orcs in a coat, or three orcs in a coat, or no, three goblins in a coat. That was it. Three goblins in a coat.
With Una, Laud, and Pike Puppet, and then they fight the Orion guy, and like I don't know. It was kind of funny, but also fun. I guess superhero landing. I'm trying to stay positive, and then they beat up the Orion guy, and then Scotty's got his electric gun, and then Pelia has to, in the dreams, say that she was just being hard on Scotty against that other guy he was competitive with, so that he would do his best or something.
I feel like they've had that conversation before, like very early on in Scotty's tenure on the show. I'm just hard on you. You're really, really good. Have a little faith in yourself.
Moments like this lead me to believe that the episode, I think they changed it to a dream. Like, I feel like that they had an explanation that they thought was going to work, and then they said, "People are not going to accept this. You need to change the ending to a dream." But
so let's think about this for just a moment.
You mean more than what the writers did? Okay.
Heaven help us. Spock currently tied up in the galley.
Oh
yes.
No, I brought this up.
Yeah,
earlier.
he's not present for any of these events.
Yeah. Why does he know any of this? Why would he know any of this?
Well, it's in his dream mind.
And
I mean, hey, that's fair. When I have dreams, I go through scenarios. I don't know what's behind doors. I don't know what's around corners. I don't know what private conversations are happening inside my
You're not dreaming like a half Vulcan.
You mean you tell me you don't keep a ship's log in your dream?
I just realized something else too. Scotty had to make this electrical glove to touch the screens. I can go to Walmart and get a pair of gloves with like the touch pads on the fingertips and still use my touch screen on my phone.
Yeah, well,
They could have just replicated a whole bunch of those and be fine.
I always wonder why they don't use machine guns on the Borg, because they seem to be very effective.
Are you telling me that the engineer of the Enterprise didn't have some copper wire?
No copper wire. Pelia doesn't have it. Actually, she actually would. Anyway, so then there's the whole scene here where the Orion burns T'Pring's hand, right? Because he captures her, and tries to use her against Spock to,
and she becomes a psychopath.
Yeah, whereas her hand's being burned. It's kind of crazy. And then she's like, "No, I don't feel pain. Don't give the codes away. Pike's alive." What? Pike's alive? And then she's like, "No, I'm a puppet. I don't feel pain." But then she says she does feel pain. So she's a liar, a lying Vulcan puppet. And then she burns the Orion guy, and then I guess he knocks himself out, or he might burn to death on the ground.
He hit the bulkhead or something, and then fell down.
Yeah, okay.
And then
before he hits the bulkheads, he tries to put his arm out by pouring liquor on it. And then it makes it bigger, and then he freaks out, and then he hits the bulkhead.
I think he burns to death behind the bar, and I think that Spock and T'Pring do nothing. That's my theory.
They just sleep in his corpse.
Yeah. They're just dark like that. She mind melts him with the burned hand instead of the unburned. So, that was the other weirdest
connection with
mind.
My mind's yours.
But she can close her Muppet eyes, even though we never see them blink. Anyway.
Wait, are you telling me that there's some illogical fallacies in this episode, Dave?
Trying to make this episode's all about logic, I guess.
Apparently so.
Because it's the whole fight scene on the bridge here with the Orions and the rest of the puppets, Pike and the Bang, and they're fighting the Orions every way they can. I don't know, like they're attacking them with pencils and stuff like this.
They were knitting needles.
Like, I'm like, they're really just going for the jokes here. And then we see that the Orion lady, she shoots the one guy. I don't know his name. He's like the navigator, and he gets like a hole burned through him because he's a puppet. It doesn't matter. he can survive.
The only
such
red
things.
shirt to survive.
Okay, again, that was one of the only things I laughed at genuinely because it was a red shirt guy that survived with a giant hole in his stomach. Like, okay, that was a little
They
funny.
keep bringing him back. They bring. Back
Oh yeah, they bring him back again, but
yeah. Anyway, so they're
Vincent
knitting
Glory
needles. Yeah. Then Spock shows up with T'Pring on the bridge to join the fight, and he's like, "I can't handle this. There's too much craziness going on. I'm gonna have a panic attack." And she's like, "Focus. You gotta focus. You gotta beat the chaos by focusing and channeling the chaos, like Vulcan style. That's how it goes. It's like some kind of Vulcan holiday, by the way. I forgot the name of it, but this is what you're supposed to be more like Vulcan logical on this particular day. I think all Vulcan holidays are that, but it's especially relevant there. Anyway, so yeah, he sees them all fighting and around the ship, and it's kind of funny. And then he decides to join the fight by throwing Pike across the bridge. He's like, "Do what you gotta do, buddy." And he throws Puppet Pike at the Orion woman captain. She's just laughing at her men fight the puppets around the room at this point. And then Pike comes in and grabs her and gets her out of the chair, which gives Spock the chance to jump into the chair. And then he turns off the life support and gets really quiet. I guess he starts conserving air. This was the plan in the dream. It's a dream. It's a dream holding your breath. And then she's got to shoot Spock until he gets out of the chair. But then the reveal is, the air's been turned off and you're all about to pass out in 2 seconds. Hooray. So Spock then passes out in his own dream.
And reawakens in his own dream.
This is like real Inception style, a dream inside a dream. So
time moves differently there too.
Exactly.
Spock had to start spinning a little top just to make sure.
Yeah. He wakes up in sickbay and they say, "Oh, we wheeled you. We got an oxygen mask on you in time, and then we wheeled you with a dolly, and then got you up on the table here." So they could have turned back into people faster, but they chose not to because they just want to hang out in outer space and float around.
I would have really loved a Neil deGrasse Tyson cameo breaking the fourth wall of them being in space, because that would have been so much funnier.
Like, this is cool to look at, and it's beautiful, and it's kind of a sweet moment.
It's a silly way to end the episode for sure. I don't hate it because I agree. If I was a puppet that had full facsimiles of myself and no hand up my butt, and I could go out into space and experience what space feels like, I'd do it. I would do it.
Same.
If the whole purpose of the episode was just for this one scene, cool. You know what? You could have done this in the opening, and then we could have had an entirely different Star Trek episode with maybe slight references to Muppets here or there that had to do with nothing with this. We waste everybody's time because guess what? We're gonna watch, Spock make out and finger T'Pring, and then he's gonna wake up and wonder why his girlfriend isn't felt anymore.
He's like, "Let me see if I can control you as a puppet." What happens here? Because, he's like, they were doing some meditation here, and Spock and Puppet T'Pring are like getting it on. They're rekindling this romance. I guess.
Rub the fingers.
Han Far is it's not the 7 years yet. Okay. And they're all
feel that static electricity,
and everyone's watching, including La'an. It's not right. It's so.
I can't decide if this is worse than the bleeding dick thing from Firefly or not.
This might be worse.
This might be worse.
That guy was bleeding from his dick. That was a legit thing. But if he actually tried to have sex with this puppet, what would happen? It would not. I don't know. It would. Listen, it's consensual, I guess. But
when handling felt objects and you got your needles and thread out, just make sure you wear protection and wear a thumb cover. Okay.
All right.
The proper term is a thimble, Chris.
Put your minds out the gutter. He didn't get that far. He wakes up.
I didn't think about the scientific term for it.
he was about to go to French kissing, but then he wakes up, and it's real to Prinks here, who says he's been sleeping all along. Now we're back to the real world, everyone. He's woken up.
Can't get heavy-handed with a Muppet.
Can't get like, was he getting a like? I wonder if he like. No, I can't say it. I can't say it.
Oh, say it. Why stop now?
Was he starting to get like a boner in the dream from the puppet? And then, but then subconsciously he's like, no, I know T'Pring's sitting there, and then he woke up in time to stop her from seeing the boner.
It's morning wool.
Oh,
could that be the reason? It's just a theory. Anyway, but he says you're not a puppet anymore. Like, to him, it wasn't a dream. Even it was very real. He believed this was a real thing, and he's like, in the dream, you were a puppet, and you helped me figure out logic and get things better. She's like, well, since that's what I came here to do, I guess that worked. And then, we find out that little Ricky, the Scotty's puppet, was left here to cheer Spock up while he recovered from the transporter accident, which didn't affect the crew.
Out of my room. I do not want that thing in there.
She's like, yeah, because she says that he thought he might cheer you up, and he goes, it does not. It does not cheer me up. Like, hey, very definitively.
Let's test out that new vaporization setting on the phasers, please.
Like, Scotty hates Spock. Like, I think this was a direct. I really like. What's up, man? What are we?
Passive aggressive.
Cool? Listen, I'm just saying we missed the opportunity to have a Chucky-style episode of Star Trek with little Ricky, because if you notice in the next scene, that chair's turned and he's looking at Spock. If you go 2 frames back, he was looking in the other direction.
He was.
Oh man,
he was, and they didn't move the chair.
Yeah.
No, it's a real puppet or something. Maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe it was some kind of window.
A murderous alien that's actually a puppet that kills the crew. I'd buy that.
Maybe it was some kind of psychic dimension.
It was possessed by one of the crewmen from the Griffin.
Maybe it's the Griffin ghost. They do reference the Griffin in this episode.
Oh my God! Closure.
Is there a haunted object here?
This is only Act 2 of the ghost story of Strange New World,
and we don't know it. And that's where, like, you idiots, you didn't realize it, but we just figured it out because that puppet moved. There's no reason that puppet would have moved. We figured it out. Super sleuths here on Live Long and Podcast. We broke the story first. Bank it. All right, and clip it. Anyway, so the demon.
Oh, it's getting clipped, I'm sure.
Yeah. The demon puppet is the final frame with its mismatched eyes and its horrible soul, everything else. That's it. That's the screenshots. We did it.
That was fun.
Do you guys want to hear some fun facts?
I would love to hear some fun facts.
Okay, give me a minute. Here, play the clip for me here.
I got you.
Okay.
Here's an interesting piece of trivia. Have you ever wondered why most bubblegum is pink? Me too.
Well, fun fact us, Adam. I want sexiness. I want fun factiness. Thank you, Chris. That's good. So this puppet for the episodes were built by the Jim Henson's Creature Shop, of course. The main cast did not get to interact much with their puppet counterparts, which Ansimount called a bit frustrating. The cast recorded their lines after the fact and didn't have a good handle on exactly how much emotion would need to go into their performances. In an interview with SFX magazine, Mount said, "We had to do it twice because the first time it was just completely wrong. When the producers got the cut, they were just telling me, just do more, just feel more." I was like, what are you talking about? But when they played the scenes, I was like, oh, I need to be doing what they are doing. Yeah. I had to set aside my ego for a little bit and follow the puppeteer's cues a little bit more. So...
that's what happens when you have an entirely different team that does an entirely different show come on to an entirely different show with an entirely different team and do the same show.
logically, like they couldn't have had like the actors like just
On set?
off screen on set, watching the puppeteers and like communicating with them.
There's
Like,
no reason why they could not have done that. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no, like there was literally there's all these behind the scenes of people in green, full body green uniforms puppeting and doing all that, and then like, no offense, sure, maybe some handwork here, but doing this while you talk is not a hard thing to do. All you have to do is talk and move your hand at the same time.
You should have seen
I
the
can
beginning of the
hide a
podcast.
screen
It's,
student do
it
this.
can be really hard. I'm sure.
yeah.
That one has
I-
a bit of a spring in it, but
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily give the actors control of the puppets, but like a little bit more communication, like in real time while they're working the puppets, just to help make the realism hit a bit more.
you remember like the Ninja Turtles movie where
Yeah.
like they had to do all that puppeteering separately and then put like Corey Feldman's voice in and whoever, right? For like the voice of the turtles, and that one worked. But like you have to like there has to be communication, I think, and that's
Yeah.
what I think was
Agreed.
why they had to do it twice. They can do it dubbing, but it takes a little bit of coordination at least, right? Other facts here. Rachel Harris also played Kessa's mother, as mentioned in the episode before and after. There were 14 uncredited puppeteers who worked on the production, all veterans of Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock.
Wow,
Interesting.
that's going back.
I mean, Fraggle Rock was a better show in so many manners, in so many ways, and it almost feels like an insult to the careers that those people have laid down for them to do this. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too harsh. I'm sure they had fun doing it. I don't know. It didn't hit for me.
All right. The little Ricky is also the name of Lucy and Ricky Ricardo's son in I Love Lucy.
Shout out to the ball.
Yeah. To accommodate the puppets, several tweaks had to be made to the sets. Most notably, Pike gets a new captain's chair for this episode designed by Pelia that features sophisticated biometric controls in the armrest. Not only does it present additional problems for the characters to solve within the story, it allowed the puppeteer for Pike to hide more comfortably inside of the larger base. But remember my point that he got that in canon. He got that new chair was not part of the dream, and his realization to get rid of it happened in the dream, which means he should still have it when we catch up with him, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Scotty is working to increase the range of the Enterprise's transporters, having increased them to 27,000 kilometers, roughly 2,000 kilometers further than the record. According to the Star Trek The Next Generation technical manual, transporter ranges on the Galaxy class would reach up to 40,000 kilometers. Earth geosynchronous orbit of 7,806 kilometers. Sorry. In Star Trek, the Narada incursion realities version of Montgomery Scott is working on the calculations for transwarp beaming, which will allow transport at interstellar distances. His prime universe counterpart has already solved the problem as of 2387, the year that Spock followed the Narada back in time.
Yeah. Okay.
Kayshawn, who was actually turned into a puppet in Star Trek Lower Decks in the episode Kayshawn, His Eyes Open, after being shot by a beam produced. Yeah, that was right. They already did this in the Star Trek universe, turn people into puppets for real.
Right? And they found a way to keep it canon within the universe. And you know what would have been great? Is if they used the same story progression that they use in Lower Decks. The thing that made them puppets, same thing. They just happen to there's no reason why we can't use the same objects or artifacts from previous episodes and have
MacGuffins.
similar things happen.
Yeah.
It's just they could have done that, but they didn't. They wanted to insult us, and it was all a dream.
They wanted to insult us. So they just wanted to insult us, guys. But anyway, speaking of which, the co-writer of this episode, Henry Alonzo Myers, said, part of our goal in doing this show is to make a show that is at its heart for the lovers of Star Trek, but also that reaches out to people who have never seen Star Trek before and present them with something for them. So I feel there's something for people of all types in a given season. You may not love every episode, but you will love all of the show. There's something for you in everything. And our goal was to do a big reach for people who had never seen it, and do a big reach for people who have seen it and know it in their hearts.
Wow.
Vehemently disagree.
I'm sorry. Where's the LA Noir button to press doubt?
Yeah. Eric Adams, a reviewer for the AV Club, wrote, I don't know how you look at an episode where the crew are turned into Muppet-style puppets and call it anything but a cheap gimmick. One Joss Whedon did first on Angel anyway. And with just 11 episodes left in the show's entire run, that feels like an absolutely baffling thing to spend time on, even before the reveal that this is a whole hour in just Spock's dream. In an article for Space.com entitled Ludicrous, Nonsensical, and Affront to Canon, Strange New Worlds puppet episode is an instant classic, Richard Edwards wrote, it's important to reiterate that this is the episode that makes negligible logical or canonical sense. Even within Star Trek's frequently loose interpretation of the science, that idea that Scotty's transport experiments on family puppet Little Ricky, a slightly disturbing presence, would transform an entire crew into fabric and stuffing is rather outlandish. Even the writers acknowledge that they've exceeded the plausibility threshold when they hint that the whole affair took place in Spock's head. But frankly, who cares about logic or canon when the results are so much madcap fun? Anyway, sorry, Shaggy came in this positive. He's like, I liked this episode. I had fun, guys. This was great. And then we're all like, this sucks. Sorry. What do you know?
My job is done here.
I have the mind of a child, so
Shaggy, I'm a positive recipient.
He's usually Mr. Positive.
I would usually give the highest of scores for these episodes, but this one was a bit. It was a league too far. You know,
it's too much.
They went too far. You don't go full something.
This is the perfect time to play that line from Jurassic Park by Ian Malcolm, like, your scientists were only concerned if they could. They never stopped to think if they should. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, like, you're questioning, like, the ethics of this at a fundamental level, Jim.
At this point, yeah, I think I'm entitled to that with this one.
Well, I'm not saying you're not. Like, you know, there was, you know, they took us on a ride, you know, and if it's... I'm pro puppet. Everyone knows this, just for the record.
I love a good Muppet too.
Yeah,
you know.
And so we're gonna rate this episode now, and we're gonna try to.
I like peanut butter. I like peanut butter, and I like pickles. I don't like peanut butter and pickles in the same. You know,
well, if you were a pregnant woman, you might. So that's all I'll say. Do I have Shaggy on here? Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Let's bring up the scores. Let's rate this episode and.
I'll probably just get mine out of the way.
Shaggy, yeah, start us off here, man. Give us a pause.
I'm going to be probably the most positive. I agree with Chris. I would have liked if they really wanted to kind of do this, they should have really fully committed to the bit. However, I still had a lot of fun with this episode. I would like to give this an 8.
Okay. I'll go next if you guys are okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a 4.5 tonight. I think I did overall, I'm trying. There's stuff in I do like, but overall I don't like it. So I'm below the 50% mark. Over to you, Worldmind.
Jim, you go ahead. Actually, I need to gather my thoughts.
Yeah.
For a second.
Chris said it too, and I said it before he hopped in. If they were going to do this, they didn't go far enough. They dropped the ball. They should have had an episode where they didn't even acknowledge that they were puppets. They should have just acted normal, like it was just another typical day. And it just being a dream, just again, it's another fucking dick punch from this season. I'm going to give it a 3.
A 3 for
a 3. Yeah.
Okay. To you, Worldmind.
Well, in the words of the notorious B.I.G., it was all a dream. I used to read Sci-Fi magazine, Picard and Riker up in the Enterprise D. hanging pictures on the walls, this does not go far for me at all. And the only score I can give this is, well...
There he goes!
That's right. A whopping jump the shark. That's what I give this. A whopping jump the shark. It gets a 0.2. And I'm only giving it a 0.2 for Rachel Harris and Joe Laturo.
You just went from averaging 9.5 this season to 6.4 in a single vote. So just consider that. So between the four of us, we are averaging a 3.9 tonight. The IMDb score at the moment for this episode is 4.5, which just happens to be what I gave it. 663 votes so far, which is pretty high for a same day viewing, actually.
Yeah.
660.
Well, the hype for this one was so over the top just because everybody kept hearing puppets. Through the chat, Norman gave it a 1.1.
1.1.
Need to head out. My score is 1.1. Sorry, did not work for me as it is. I give it a 0.1 as it's better than 4.5 Vulcans. Would be a definite 1 if not for 0.000001.
I gave 4.5 Vulcans a 3, so I gave it higher than 4.5 Vulcans. So I'm consistent at least.
Stargazer Fish 4553. I rate it a 5 sight unseen.
Oh, just on premise, because Jody decided he hated this episode before he even watched it. I decided I didn't like it after I watched it.
Oh no, jumping the shark. And EJR87R says it's a 4. I like the first 15-20 minutes. I can never put an episode of the show lower than 4.5 Vulcans.
At least he's got standards,
right? I also hate that episode too, so I'm with you. Like I gave it a generous 3 at the time. So hey,
but you know what? 4.5 Vulcans is canon within.
So is this kinda? Not really.
Is it?
And Subspace Rhapsody.
If it ends up tied into the Griffin incident storyline, then maybe.
If they redeem this with a puppet evil Chucky thing, and it's Scotty's little demon ginger puppet, I will up the ranking to a meager 4.
I just want to put this in context, guys. Legends of Tomorrow, one of those fucking terrible CW shows.
I love that show, first season and a little bit second season.
Legends of Tomorrow gets a pass for me among all of them, but they did do a murderous puppet episode,
and you know what?
It worked.
It works. You know why? Because everything in that show works. You know why?
Most of the time it worked, yeah.
Is this Legends of Tomorrow, and it doesn't matter, but like it's you know. Anyway.
Even so, I mean, of all the Arrowverse shows, that most of them suck. Legends of Tomorrow was actually kind of fun. That show is better than most of the season 4 of this show.
No.
First of all,
that's absurd. No.
There was a couple years where they were all good.
I will say this. Legends of Tomorrow at least had the integrity not to do a puppet episode.
Give a writer a chance.
You can have puppet cameos.
Yeah,
but they didn't turn their whole cast into puppets.
They didn't do the whole.
It's not Angel.
Oh, there goes Dave again. At least one time in Angel. Yeah. I don't even remember that episode of Angel.
I mean, watched Angel, so
I barely watched it. I only know about it because I remember seeing photos of Angel as a puppet, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they did that because that's what they did. They'll do puppets and sing songs." And then apparently the same logic crossed over to Star Trek. We used to have episodes with really heady writing, and now we got things like Spock saying he's shook.
Yeah.
what you're saying is we used to be a proper continent with competent writers.
It used to be a little bit more grown up, I guess, is one way
Yeah.
to look at it. A
the-
little more adult.
The thing, like while we're watching the show, I've been jumping back over and rewatching the Orville. Like they've had some really, really damn good storylines in the Orville compared to season 4 of this show.
I love the
So,
Orville.
yeah.
Season 3 gets a little, like some of those episodes are too long, but
A little,
it's a good
but-
it's a good show. But look, okay, so we've talked about this episode.
Yeah.
We closed the book. We gave it the rating. Looking
let's
ahead,
close
next
let's
episode.
close the treasure chest on this one.
The next episode is called Off Hour, coming out in 1 week's time. Framed in the style of a disaster survival movie, the episode centers on Nurse Chapel when a routine off-duty window turns into a high-stakes warp emergency as the USS Enterprise is pushed past its safe operational limits.
I already know what this is. I don't know what the premise is, but just based off this image, just based off this off hour, and it's a post. Has anyone watched an Umbrella Academy? Has anyone seen that on a show?
Yeah.
There's an
Oh,
episode
yeah, I've seen
when
it.
5 gets stuck in a time loop or a train station or whatever. It's gonna be something like that. It's a time loop episode, like ship in a bottle and all that stuff. That's what
I mean,
this could be.
I made a comment about that in the chat once. Like, have they done a time loop episode yet? Because I was looking at what qualifies as a gimmick episode, and they listed cause and effect from TNG, and I'm like,
That's a gimmick?
apparently so. That's the example they
it-
gave.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
It's fucking Google too, so take it with a grain of salt. But
I am.
like, are Chris? Do you really think this is going to be a time loop episode?
Oh yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
yeah, no, it's gonna be Chapel's gonna be stuck on the ship. She's gonna be probably by herself, stuck on some sort of weird time loop. It gets weirdly post-apocalyptic. She comes back with weird PTSD and is colder and makes her more in line with the original series.
Yeah, they all have to turn into their more boring original series versions. That's what they're trying to get them
They're
to.
not
so.
rigid enough.
Yeah, they need to be more World War II veteran style. That's where they need to get them to.
We need to
Okay,
inject more
also-
mash into this cast.
A little more MASH, a little more Al and Alda. Looking ahead, of course, on Mondays we're doing our Firefly podcast review. The next episode of Firefly we're reviewing is Trash.
Yep.
So we'll be on the August 24th to talk about that with
Such a
Christina
good
Hendricks coming
episode.
back. So look out for that and the rest of our Firefly podcasts.
Yay.
And anyway, yeah, that's what's going on here. I think
Sad I
Survivor's
missed
coming
last
back.
week's episode with you guys. I wanted to join in because I enjoyed that episode.
The black and white one.
No, well, that one, yes, of Star Trek, but also of Firefly. Both of them, I'm disappointed I missed on both podcasts, but both episodes were good.
What did you want to give last week's episode, the black and white episode?
Oh, that's definitely like a 9. That
It's
was
a
a
9.
beautiful episode. That was just like
I'd also like to, excuse me, I'd also like to rate last week's episode. I'd give it an 8.5 for me. It was really, really good. I very much enjoyed it.
You guys both brought up that average rating, so
Yeah.
where it was.
Yay, Chris.
Yeah. So like right now we're for the whole season we're averaging 7.1. So it's not bad. Ish.
That
It's
works.
like because season 1 our overall average was 8.7. Season 2 8.1. Now last season it was 7. That was the final average. And now this season we're standing at 7.1. So we're not back up to the 8s. We want to see 8s. Maybe even 9s. That would be the
They got 5 episodes left, so maybe.
the approval ratings got to get a little higher. You want the show to get a
Listen,
syndication.
they've used their silly tokens, all right? They got 5 good episodes to give us that are going to really wow us and make sure people are still Star Trek fans at the end of the day.
It's gonna be a hell of a wall to climb. That's all I'm saying.
Get ready for the new regime. Apparently, Kurtzman's out. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
actually. If
No,
it's
it's-
for sure.
Official?
It's got to be.
It's official. He's gone.
It's official.
I know it's soon. I know his contract's coming.
Oh, it's
up.
already
Is it-
expired.
They're letting it burn out, but they still have to air season 2 of Academy, which he's one of the co-showrunners on. So he still would have to do some press, right?
You would think that, but they just aired season 2 of X-Men 97, and there was no Bo DeMaio in anybody's feed lines because he was annexed from Disney, but he still had a large writing part in the season, so his name was all over the producing credits for that show.
From my understanding, all the episodes for season 2 of Academy and whatever's left of Strange New Worlds has already been done. Like, everything's done and in production. So yeah, Kurtzman may be out, but the shows are still there, ready to air. But he is out of Paramount. He is no longer associated with them. His contract was out last week, I think. So yeah, he's gone.
See you later, Kurtzman. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, let's sign off for tonight. Thanks to the whole panel. Thanks for everyone for being with us. And whatever you do, don't let anyone know you're a Muppet. Okay, we'll see you next time here on Live Long and Podcast.
Lay low. Don't let anyone know that you're puppets.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise. Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mato Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.